Hey everybody, Stacy here with New Creations by Stacy. I just picked up this little wooden box from Hobby Lobby in the clearance section. It was missing some of the hardware, so I just went ahead and removed the rest of it. I started off by staining it with the new Fireside Ash from Dixie Belle Paint Company and the Voodoo gel stains, and then added some Boho butterfly decoupage paper to the inside. In order to make this paper easier to blend in, I wanted to tear out the butterfly, so I used a paintbrush and put a water ring right around the butterfly, tore that out, trimmed off some of the excess strings that were hanging off. Used the decoupage gel first, then I laid the paper and used the Ziploc bag just to smooth out all of the wrinkles. So once all of that dried, I was ready to paint. I did want to create some texture in order to really blend in that decoupage paper, make sure that line did not show. So I'm using a texture additive sea spray here by Dixie Belle Paint Company. I mix that with the vintage duck egg, Florida orange, and also burlap to blend in that top section. Using these synthetic chip brushes and dabbing it or stippling it on in this fashion gave me just the perfect amount of texture to create that aged finish and to blend in that decoupage line. The decoupage medium I'm using is water repellent, so in cases where I accidentally kind of painted over that butterfly, I just use a baby wipe and wipe back that paint while it was still wet. This textured blend created an amazing base for this box, but I did feel like it needed just a little bit more interest. So I decided to go through my stash of bendable wood products, and I found this particular trim was left over from a previous project, but it went perfect with the butterfly on the top as well as all the symbols up there. I'm using Tight Bond Quick and Thick wood glue in order to apply the trim as well as the little emblem on the front. You guys, I love this glue because it dries quick, it's no drip, and it also dries clear. I used a little bit of Dixie Mud just to go around the corners there to make sure it had a smooth transition. And then I've got a little coffee bean here that I'm applying to all of the details just to get that initial dimension started. On the final coat, I just felt like it needed a little more variation in tone of the colors. So I decided to go ahead and add in Stormy Seas. And then, of course, I'm coming back with the vintage duck egg, the burlap, as well as the Florida orange. My brushes are wet here. I'm kind of keeping them misted down so I can get a bit of a more cloudy blend, but not too much of a blend. I still have separation within my colors here. I am also highlighting some of the detailed areas, just continuing to build that depth and dimension. I'm enhancing the aged effect on here with the Florida orange and the Stormy Seas as well. Those are our complementary colors, so when you mix them together, it's going to kind of give you kind of a muddy look, and that just increases that antique effect. Guys, it is all in the details, and one of my favorite things to do when I'm trying to create an aged effect or to add more depth and dimension, I like to do a dry brush. In this case, I'm using Coffee Bean and the Dixie Belle synthetic chip brush, just outlining over all the edges, the trim, the emblem that I added. As I'm shadowing out, it's also catching on all the high points of that texture that we created to enhance the look. I did go around the inside edges as well because as paint seeps through, as I was painting and the paint was seeping through, there's a couple places where it went onto the stain portion. And just an easy way to cover that is to just dry brush around it. That covers the paint that seeped through and it gives it that aged look again. After this step, I did add 2 coats of satin clear coat. I wanted that sheen. I wanted that added durability. I also like to do this before I go into any waxes or Dixie dirt, gilding waxes, anything like that. So just in case I don't like something, I can go ahead and wipe it back. Here I'm coming in with a clear wax and Dixie dirt in earth to really give this an added, authentic, aged effect. Kind of going around the latches, the emblems, the trim, as well as the hinges on the back, where you would normally see kind of that age building up on a piece. I love layers, and the subtle effect of this Dixie dirt is amazing. I let this sit for about 2 hours, and then I came back in with the gilding wax. The gilding wax is the last step. It is oil based. All of the previous products that we used were water based. Here I'm just using a fan. I started off by using bronze, and while that was still wet, I came in with the copper as well. This allowed it to blend in a little bit. This is oil based, so it does take a little bit longer to dry. So after about 12 to 24 hours, I came back in with the finishing pad and just buffed out the gilding wax so it was nice and shiny. Hope you enjoyed this little boho butterfly update. You can find the decoupage paper as well as all the products used. And the box is available on my website at www.newcreationsbystacy.com.